Hello, everybody. Hello. 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 What? Un, deux, trois. Ah. And that's if I was a French jazz musician, okay? Yeah, I got a BFA. I got a big fat ass. This is all stand-up material, I think, or like perhaps I could do a little crowd work section or session and like butter up my participants, my audience who will participate if I have anything to say about it. That's like the most goated thing in the world. Stupid way to say that. It's like peak when you have a whole room like hanging on your words and like when you start talking they want to start listening. Oh my god. Like cuz it means that I have like earned their trust and their faith that like what I'm going to say is going to be good, is going to be delightful. Like being invited to speak is like, oh, I'm really abstracting this a lot to say I love gabbing. I love gabbing. And I'm Sab. Welcome to Gab with Sab. This is episode 15. I just went ahead and removed all of the episode numbers from the titles so that now nobody feels a sense of like, oh, I have to go watch this in order to watch it appropriately. Or, oh, I've already got 15 episodes to catch up on. Like, holy shit. Like, when we were at episode 3, it was like, big things are happening. It's episode 3. Like, this is the third time I've done it. Imagine what I'm going to talk about next. What I talk about next is going to establish a pattern in the episodes, because 2 could be a coincidence, but 3 is where I established the pattern. So I wanted y'all to know that it was the third episode. I wanted you to know what's on the line, but now it seems that might be counterintuitive to reaching a broader audience, so that I might continue to invite myself to speak and do a damn good job of it if I don't say so myself, if I do say so myself, and I'm definitely saying it. This will be the first episode that I've recorded with my window open. Might close it. It is better temperature with it open, obviously. And I'm hoping that the audio isn't too, like, muddied by it. But I'm starting to feel self-conscious that my neighbors can hear me. And so I think I will move on through that. And we will get into the topics for today. First of all, being that I do have a BFA. I do have a big fat ass, certifiably spoken. Today I saw a BBJ, a big booty Judy. I'm gonna close the window. Okay, you guys, I'm back. I effectively like got silent for a moment and I was like, after I just talked all this big game about gabbing and yapping, all of a sudden I have an audience and God forbid I get a little scared. I get a little stage fright. Like I am a person that contains multitudes, you know, like I have so much within me. It's actually incredible. Some are calling it visionary. Others are calling it bipolar disorder, BPD. I'm not a professional, so I really can't weigh in and say too much. Like, I don't really know. No, nobody's calling it bipolar disorder for me, except for myself, actually. I am saying that because I feel like that is going to be, I don't know, like the silver bullet that helps me like understand my psyche better and be able to like better prepare and equip myself to like navigate it. But of course, a silver bullet is a myth. I'm probably not gonna have it. And I mean, like, ADHD felt like that. ADHD felt like a silver bullet, actually, now that I say that. Now that I'm speaking that out loud into the ether. Yeah, ADHD was like, oh, so cool. I feel like my biggest misunderstanding right now is understanding a lot of what was actually OCD as anxiety for the longest time, and thus was like treating it incorrectly. My therapists were like, ask for reassurance, like no matter how many times it takes, like don't feel embarrassed to do that. And but really as like a person with OCD, I really should be trying to sit with that discomfort and practice feeling those big feelings. And I can't know, and I like have to be okay with that. It could be the worst, and I like until that point, until that then and there, I am gonna act like I'm like looking over around the room and stuff because we have had a problem with ants. Oh my god, ants for the first time in the like 5 years that we've lived here. We have an issue with ants, bro. And so we've got little bait set up to like kill them and stuff. And like, it sucks, but it has to happen. But so I'm looking around and there is what I think is like a small dead leaf from a plant above, because all of my mini rubber plants died over the winter. What the fuck? Anyway, I think one of their dead leaves, the carcass of my former plants that are no longer alive, and thus their plant soul has left them. If and that's a thing that you believe in. And its dead carcass is on the ground, and I thought it was a bug. I thought it was a house centipede because I saw a house centipede in the shower, you guys. And it was on the ceiling, and it was like crawling to like get closer to like being right above me, and I was like, no, don't do that. Don't. And then later that evening, Colin is like, I don't want to scare you, but a spider just ran across my foot. What the fuck? You guys, I know that this is just like par for the course, dude, but I I know that we exist in a world with bugs, and like that is just something that I have to accept, but it is a lot of discomfort for me to sit in, and as we were discussing, I'm not very good at that. So I'm getting better though. I am in therapy actively for OCD. And so anyway, I guess this is like an update knowing that my friends and loved ones will see this. So I am getting the help I need in this area. I know I was like kind of sad last week, right? I was sad on Maine. And I won't apologize for it. Like, did you want me to lie to you? Did you want me to purposefully omit information to like paint a picture of you that is just like not fucking true? Like, when has that been my MO? So I update on being sad. I'm less sad now. I'm less depressed now. I am now only lowercase d depressed. So it's actually pretty good. And it's been good. I've been leaving the house to do work, which I think I said last time that I was trying to do stuff that like I know reliably makes me feel better, even though it feels hard, being like, I gotta take my life into my own hands, bro. Like, damn, bro, these mental illnesses got hands. Damn, bro. I've been fighting more with like Colin's siblings, like physically fighting with them, which like I'm still in the early stages of. I don't think they trust me like that yet to really like throw a punch at me, except for the youngest, who is like 9. He did not hold his punches, but he also did not throw very good ones. So I was able to dodge and miss. I'm cosplaying being a sibling, literally. Okay, so in other news, and we're back. In other news, my friend Therese, told me that I would be a good mime, and I was like, that is a really, really incredible compliment. Don't know if you meant it that way. She's like, I don't know. I don't even remember what she said. But it wasn't like, yeah, I mean that in a good way, or I mean that in a bad way. Like, I'm pretty sure she was ambivalent about it. She was just like, you'd be good at it. Like, kind of like a matter of fact, like, you do a good job. And I trust her ability to assess that, because she has a BFA, a big fat ass, and a bachelor in fine arts. And sorry, Therese, I'm going to ask you, and I will omit your name if you would like me to, but otherwise I'm going to go on record saying that Therese has both a BFA and a BFA. So I think I'd be a good mime too. I think I would. No, I won't do it right now. That'll have to be something that I save for my like live shows or something. Which, by the way, been watching this creator, Neptune Henriksen, and they are going on tour and doing like comedy, and like all of a sudden they're getting in this drama because people are like, you can't speak badly about women, and they're like, I surely as fuck can, and I will because women have hurt me. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm literally only seeing this from the perspective of their page, Neptune's page, and so I haven't seen the other side. But I'm like, I don't know if this audience is like made up. Like, I've looked in the comment sections a little bit, and all of it is like quite favorable, and like, you know, don't listen to them, and like no, you're so right, King, like. And it's just, I guess I'm reporting on the matter Tuesday at 9. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the weather next. I should be a broadcaster. I should have gone to school for journalism, bro. I'm trying to be the person who works at the Buck Stadium and like is the MC for the event. would like, I believe they usually do a duo, but they will be the MC for the season, and I just think that's so fucking cool. And so I want to introduce a new thing that we do every time the Bucks get possession is we say Bucks ball. Like when the referees say Bucks ball, we repeat it back to them, Bucks ball, because that is something that the UW-Madison football team audience does. When they say 1st and 10 Wisconsin, the entire stadium is meant to say 1st and 10 Wisconsin. You recite that shit back to them. And so that is actually information that is from the year 2007, maybe. That's my best guess at it, truly. But that has sat with me. That has sat with me into my big age of 27. Oh my God, I'm starting to worry that I think about my age too much. I don't know if it's just like a season of thinking about that, or if it has to do with like, I don't know, like I think I thought I was immune to feeling negative feelings about aging, but I've really been trying to like reframe my attitude towards aging that is like welcoming and exciting. And I just have been, I guess, like spending time with younger people and feeling like I have brought up age in the conversation, and I'm like, was that appropriate? Like, should I have, or am I being fucking annoying about it? And maybe the call's coming from inside the house, but I did see an Instagram reel that said, if the call's coming from inside the house, let it be nice. Let it be nice. I'll try to link it if I remember. But shout out to that creator. They're very funny. But so anyways, Neptune Henriksen is in this drama, this controversy. Maybe. I don't know. That's what's going on in my little wing of comedy in the internet. How about you guys? Let me know in the comments down below. Moving on, I cut my finger again, but it was a different finger than the one that I scraped when I fell on the pavement in front of my house. Do we remember that? Does everybody remember that? Good. That was on the quiz. You should have remembered it. I cut my finger again doing God knows what. It was like against the edge of something, and I was like pushing really hard. I really don't remember what it was. But anyway, it's a minor cut. I'm a little bit annoyed by it. I wore a glove at work. No, I didn't. I wore a Band-Aid at work and like was washing my hands pretty diligently. So anyway, moving on. I recently was on a flight because I said this last episode too, but I went to the UIF meetup, the University Innovation Fellows meetup in the Netherlands. Yeah, I did that. Okay, so anyways, that's the thing that I've been doing for the last several years. There's like an event where they take all the people who they had trained earlier that school year and invite them all to this summit for several days in the Netherlands. And it's really fun. The vibes are very much like we are reframing failure as like a necessary part of the process, not like something that should stop what you're doing, or like not a sign of like turn around, pack it up and give up and go home, and or that like you're a bad person. There you go. And it's also just like a lot of positivity mixed with like a healthy dose of realism. Like it seeks to like exist in the context of the world, and because of that is now thinking like the keynote from like the one of the founders of the program was like, I think that we will have to make a shift that is inherently political because we just can't not do that at this point. Like it would, if we want to, like I said, exist in the context of the world that we're trying to encourage students to move through, we have to like approach this topic like with everything in mind. Like we can't omit stuff because it's taboo. Like we kind of, and I think taking a position that like we have a stance as an organization, because it kind of like goes without saying that it's very liberal and very like leftist arguably, and I guess I'll just say it's very liberal. It's very progressive vibes. But she was like, yeah, I feel that we are going to be in a position where like we have to take a stance, and that is what I intend to do. And like I was like, oh period, I said what, and I wasn't even thinking about that, and you just I don't know, I just thought that was like interesting and well timed. And yeah, so anyway, for that reason I did go ahead and leave the country. I was gone for less than a week, but I know Wisconsin felt my absence. I know that my kitties missed me. And is that not the purpose of a cat? There's a lot of purposes for cats. One is that they live their life. Don't come for me. But they do serve a purpose for me. There's a reason I feed that bitch and that bitch and that bitch every single day, several times a day. And it is that they are loving and adorable, and they make me feel like important. They make me feel important, and they're really fucking cute. And they're funny, like they're silly. And I love something that's funny and silly. So I bring all this up because I watched The Devil Wears Prada on the plane, and I cried at the end when Meryl Streep's character looks at Anne Hathaway's character across the road and just kind of like smiles after getting waved at by Anne Hathaway's character. I was just like, ah, they're slay. Like, I guess I'm being a little silly, but it was just like they both charted their own path, and they were like, this is, you know, what's important to me and what is valuable to me, and this is how I'm gonna move, and I like respect you as my peer. And so it was like a very maybe coming of age in that way. I don't know. I don't think I know how to use film terminology appropriately because I do not have a BFA. I only have a BFA. Whatever. So I cried at the end of The Devil Wears Prada, and so for that reason, I want to go see The Devil Wears Prada 2, and for the fact that they have been advertising to me on Pinterest for the last several months, I kind of don't give a fuck about that movie. I'm kind of like, get out of my goddamn face. I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing it. And they make it like, whatever, like the scene, the marketing material is just so like, ugh. Like it's just so like tired, and the like the stage scenarios and like the attitude and demeanor of the characters is just like whatever. And I'm like, is this what I'm gonna get? Like I'm gonna get the same movie rebooted? Like don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. I don't want that. I don't want to reboot like a rehash just for shits and gigs. Why am I going to go pay fucking $20 to go see this at my local theater? Like, I'm not going to go do that. I'm not going to go do that. But I did cry at the end, and I did enjoy watching it. It like was good. And so, I don't know, I'm like, maybe it's another good movie. Another thing that happened on the plane, I've coined here Sploogegate, and this has nothing to do with sex. So if you were worried about that, just go ahead and forget about that. This has to do with me opening up my container of lotion on the plane. On the plane, I open up my container of lotion, and wouldn't you know it, pressure change. And so I am bringing this up because I need an audience for this. I don't know if anybody else was watching. I have to imagine that they were, because it was like my hand was kind of covered, like the top of it. It wasn't like dripping down the sides completely, but like my full hand was full of lotion. And so I started to unsplooge it. I started to like generate a vacuum in the tube of lotion. That is like an overly technical way to explain that. But I like squeeze the bottle so that when you let it go, it will suck the lotion back in. And so I was trying to unsplooge it, and was more or less successful. And then wouldn't you fucking know it, I end up rubbing in like a lot of lotion into my hands. My hands are well moisturized. And then like an hour later, they're fucking dry again. I was like, planes really are dry. Someone had said that to me earlier, like that day or that week, and I was like, damn, they're right. They're right. Planes are really dry environments. Like, they were saying that, like, a lot of the times jet lag is just dehydration. Maybe it was Colin. It might have been Colin. What a star. What a stud. That planes are really dry environments, and so it's important that you drink enough water on the plane so that you don't get jet lag just because you're dehydrated. So that's a life hack for you guys. And what I learned from Sploogegate is that it is in fact that dry. It's very, 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 very dry. Okay, so now I'm in the Netherlands, right? After moisturizing my hands thoroughly and having them dry out right in front of my very eyes. And I navigated to the university by myself. Okay, first time doing that. First time big girling it out here. Okay, we're looking at a seasoned traveler now. You're looking at a bitch that knows what the fuck to do, where to look, and how to do it. I was like, yes, familiarity. Familiarity is what I have. Like, I could not have known this shit before, but now I do. And so isn't that nice? Isn't that just peachy? Just peachy. Just peachy. Anyway, so I listened to a lot of break-ins on the plane. Naturally, I had just switched to Tidal, so I went and downloaded a few things, and naturally I had to go make my own playlist again for break-ins, the break-ins discography, because the This Is Break-ins playlist is like too short. It doesn't have his full discography, but his artist page also has a lot of songs released several times, like as singles, and then as like an EP, and then also as an album, like with his most recent work. And so anyway, there are duplicates, and in his body of work is short enough that like the repeats come up kind of often. And so like, I don't know, that was just a problem I was having shuffling the artist page, and so I just made a playlist quick about it, and so I went ahead and did the same thing over on Tidal. It's called Break-ins Disco now. On Spotify it's called This Is Actually Break-ins, and it has like brackets, I think, where it says actually, because famously he was inspired by brackets to make the name Break-ins. I did read that in an article, don't know why that stuck with me so much, but I think it was because I was like thinking about if I would go by an alias instead of my real name. But I was like inspired by brackets. I was like, brackets are cool and all, but I was like, do I have something like that? Like something that I'm just like generally interested, that's like a character, or like maybe it's something that I'm typing with, which is a lot of like lowercase letters and like abbreviations. I'm kind of getting back into like text shortening lingo, which I just think is really fun. I think it's really fun. And so in my notes here, I wrote down that Break-ins is like modern Justin Bieber. And let me connect those dots for you. So I think that I wrote this because I was like, yeah, he was young and then blew up on the internet, like on TikTok, and had all these eyes on him and like people talking about him. And he was like, this shit is so fucking weird. Like, why are you talking about my mental well-being? Not only are you not me and not somebody I know, but I'm also a child. Holy shit. Like, maybe mind your fucking business. And I might be like a little bit off on that. Don't quote me on that like recollection, but like that is generally like what Justin Bieber experienced, and now we get to like see them move through that. And also they both got buzz cuts. So they both got buzz cuts. I don't know if they had them at the same time, but they have had like iconic hair journeys, and they're making like a variety of pop. I don't know. The more that I talk about this, the more I'm like, I'm kind of right. I kind of spilled, and I kind of ate down boots with that one. And cause yeah, I like, if I had to describe Break-ins' genre, it would be Midwest emo hyperpop. If I got, 3 words like that. And hyperpop is arguably maybe not one word. It might be hyphenated, but I don't think so. I think it's a word on its own. And that's because hyperpop is probably my favorite genre at the minute, and so I'm feeling a little bit defensive. I kind of want to put my dicks up, put my fists up for the motherfucking princess. So the UI of Meetup was good, and the Netherlands was good, and blah, 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 blah. Something else that I did that was interesting was I was wearing a fanny pack the entire time, and it was a UIF fanny pack, like a branded fanny pack, because, bitch, I got it like that. And so I designed how I put my items in it for convenience and not for security, which is a new thing, because if I travel and I'm expecting to like use this, and so I use the same fanny pack the whole time, even though I obviously have the Baggu fanny pack that I love. I was just trying to pack light, and so I used the same fanny pack the whole time. And so even while I was traveling, I designed like where I put stuff, or I chose where I put stuff based on convenience and not like safety and security, which usually I'm like worried that somebody is gonna have the opportunity to pickpocket me. But this time I was like, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna put the shit where I want it to be easily accessible, because I'm expecting to have this in front of my body at all times. And if it is not on my body, having stuff buried deeper doesn't like really make it that much more secure. Like somebody would probably just take the whole thing. And so anyway, that was my reasoning. And it felt like a little growth, I don't know, to not worry so much and just like have something be good for me, have it be good for me, like have the things that I want accessible, to just like remove that friction in these interactions that I'm having with this item like dozens of times. Like it's worth making that experience smooth. And so maybe you could say that's another thing I'm doing to try to like improve my mental wellness, is just removing friction and stuff. And I feel like that is something that I've been able to tie to my mental health as well. Like my willingness to do something for future me, like brush my teeth, like fill my pill boxes. And then also like plan out tomorrow. I'm kind of like, I'll figure it out tomorrow because I just like can't do it right now. And so for whatever fucking reason, right? And so that is like, I think, a symptom. I don't think that is like the thing to address in and of itself. Like I understand that I need to do things for my future self, but I like will not be successful at that sometimes. It's difficult to intervene in that process. It is like kind of consuming. And so anyway, and you know what, while we're talking about my mental health, I do want to say that I feel that I'm in a season of change right now. Things like feel, and I maybe feel less like, I don't know, I feel that I'm still in a season of change, and I was feeling really scared by the uncertainty and like just unsettled by the uncertainty in that. I think that's maybe why I was like not doing so well. I think I was getting stuck in thinking about that or feeling burdened by that. I don't know. There could be a lot of things going on. Who's to fucking say? But I just feel that treating it and framing it like, okay, it's not always going to feel this way, and this season of change will eventually settle. And so also because I'm in a season of change and I know that, I can like try to be intentional with my interventions and like taking advantage of like if I feel that like things must change, and so I'm going to take an active part in orchestrating those changes, in like exploring the options, in trying to determine like what feels right and feels good for me. And so because if I'm in a season of change and I know something needs to change, but I'm not actually changing anything, you could say, like, then I'm just kind of like floundering. And so anyway, so I feel more empowered to like take an active role in that change making. And part of it is, like I said, like doing stuff that I know feels good, so that I have more energy to like put into this change, into this like new behavior. And so part of that new behavior is recording this podcast like maybe a week after I launched the last one, like a week and some days, which is a pretty good turnaround, like a pretty tight turnaround, and it could enable me to release it within 2 weeks of having released the last one. So that would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. Speaking of time, I was listening to The Financial Diet. They're the content shout out of this episode. The Financial Diet, I was watching a YouTube video of theirs, and so they were talking about doing the 4-day work week, and I was like, damn, must be nice. Like, I would love to do a 4-day work week. And then I was like, wait a minute. I famously freelance, and I barely have meetings. Like, I really genuinely barely have meetings. Like, there are some days with none. And when I do have one, it's usually just one. And so that's all to say, I was like, who was I waiting for to like give me permission to do a 4-day work week? I can just do that. And then I was like, I work at the cafe on Mondays, and so I effectively am doing a 4-day work week, but I'm just adding a 5th day and doing a different job. But now I'm switching in my summer hours to do markets. And so I'm doing that on the nights and weekends. And so I'm going to get back a work day, which means I might change how I use my Fridays, and maybe change my Fridays to be like Gab with Sab days. While I'm talking about working, no, I'll be right back. Had to let you bitches know, just in case you hoes forgot. Had to let y'all know that I'm beautiful as fuck, that my eye makeup is so fun and slay. Okay, guys, I've got Blushing Lizard from Half Magic on my lid, and then I have got NYX Epic Eyeliner, whatever the fuck, the shimmery ones that are pencils, on my inner corner. Yeah, and then I've got mattifying stuff on my face, and then I have got a Milk highlighter on the side here. Yeah. And so just had to let you bitches know, just in case you hoes forgot. That and more culture that I'm stealing from black women. tonight at 9. So I did just eat dinner. I had a little dinner, and that's why I'm all up close and personal. This second half of the episode, we're going to get into my notes that were more recent. The stuff at the top of the episode was a lot of like what I just didn't cover last time, or what I like couldn't cover, like I didn't even plan to from last time, because my notes from last time were so long because I had not recorded in like several months. And so now this is my backlog of like the last week for real. And so including a couple notes that I made today. So I am a big girl. I'm a big girl now. And I'm not actually a big girl now. I'm actually an average sized woman according to the scale. Because I think on a scale of 30, a 16 is considered the middle and like average. And I really should look this up, but it's not really that serious. But so now I'm like bordering on a 16. I'm like a 14, 16 situation. And I wonder if I should start making content that is like as this like alleged average sized woman, and say like I look like I'm in the middle, and so I got some thick features and I got some less thick features. And I'll say this, like I said this before and I'll say it again. They don't just give those BFAs to anybody. So I wonder if I want to start making content like that and have that be my angle for more lifestyle content, because I have long envisioned myself as like a lifestyle creator. That was the kind of content I was consuming when I was younger. And I also just like, I yearn to like show these parts of my life. Like I don't know if saying like I yearn to do it is exactly right, but I see that content for myself. Like that feels like that would be fun to make and fun to talk about. And as we know by this podcast, I love having something fun to talk about. But so, I don't know, let me know if you would keep up with that if I made some like average sized woman content in the like fashion space. Feels right. Like it feels like that's something I'll do. So I did go ahead and quit smoking. That's kind of huge. I was doing a dart a day, and so I did quit smoking, and I said the phrase like I'm quitting to somebody, and I was like, that makes me feel a little bit self-righteous, but it does make me feel less likely to smoke. So if that's what it takes to quit, then I will feel a little self-righteous. I have two final topics: computing and Noah Kahan. And Noah Kahan is also the music shout out for this episode, obviously. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is that computing, circuits and all that circuits and all that business and stuff, like that shit does not make sense and is basically black magic. And so here's what I wrote about it in my note from earlier today, because I was thinking about it, because I was like, dude, stuff like physical stuff making digital stuff. I don't know how to explain it better than that. Like learning about how like you wire stuff up, and like it is not only turning this like energy into like what you see on your screen, but like storing information. It's just fucking crazy. And so I said, computing is crazy. Like that's black magic, Colin shit. No way. Hell no, that shit doesn't make sense to me. Like what the fuck? It makes sense to you, freak. So that's a love letter to all of the electrical engineers in the audience. So the next topic, the last topic, I think I was, how do I want to say this? I was not on the Noah Kahan train. I was firmly a bystander to the Noah Kahan train, and I was watching that shit take off, and lo and behold, people keep jumping onto it, and I was like, whoa, so this guy's actually picking up steam. And so it was not until Colin got onto Noah Kahan that I got into Noah Kahan a little bit, and now I'm into it in my own, like I'm not just listening to it with Colin, I'm like listening to it on my own time now. And I was like, why am I down so bad for this man? Like, not, and that's not actually what I'm trying to fucking say. Like, not down bad for this man, but like, why would I throw down for this man? Like, why am I willing to go to bat for this man suddenly? And I think it's because I think that he is good. Like, I feel, and that is like such a vague statement, right? Like, but I think that he is doing in that good, and I think that he is a thought leader for young men his age. And for now, I trust him. Like, I trust him to teach him the ways, basically. Like, I think that he literally is like a role model in just like expressing his experience of these things through music. Like, that is, I think, an element of artistry that is not necessary, but it is interesting. Like, in seeking to learn through your creation of the music, like whether that be the artist or the listener. And I would argue that it's probably both all the time. Like, and again, as a young novice songwriter, I did go ahead and sit down and clock in for 30 seconds and wrote some song lyrics the other day, so the music arc is on its way. But I think I like listened to Stick Season and then I was like, this is lame. And now I'm like, oh, actually, this is kind of fun. Like, now that I have that familiarity with it, like I was talking about last time or earlier this episode, I feel like it's fun to sing along to, and also like the sentiment of it. Like, as I've described in previous episodes, it has sonic value and substance value. It is significant sonically and substantially. There we go. I just like it. Like, as I was telling my friend Sam about Noah Kahan and being like, I was not on the train and now I'm on it and it's what a time to be alive. And he was like, oh, I don't really get down with music that I have to listen to the lyrics in order to enjoy it or something like that. And I was like, that's kind of fair, but I was like, I think that this is good for more than just the lyrics. Like, I think I'm willing to go 10 toes down on that and say that it's pretty good. And like, maybe he just happens, to be someone who's getting like disproportionate acclaim for his contributions to music. Like, I don't know, like, but who's to fucking say? Like, who's to say that anyone is more or less deserving of success, of like commercial success? Like, I guess you could definitely say that, actually. But like, in this case, I'm not like, oh, why him? I'm like, oh, I get it, and I think that he's actually like doing a good job. Like, I think that I don't hold him in the same like reverence or respect as like Hozier yet. Well, then again, why not? I don't know. Like, it was really me saying, like, if I like Hozier, then I think that I should like Noah Kahan because they're very, very similar. And so that's me putting my toes, my puss, and my toes, my nose, and my tits. No, my toes, my puss, and my nose down for Noah Kahan. Anyway, that's it. So let me know what you think about Noah Kahan in the comments, and if you say Khan or Kahan. The content shout out, like I said earlier, is Chelsea from The Financial Diet, and because they do a lot of really good financial content that like makes it more accessible, but they also talk about pop culture related like aspects of money and how money is part of like all these conversations. And I don't watch all of their content. I watch the stuff that Chelsea does. So I can't really actually speak for all of it, but I like what I see from Chelsea. Another content shout out I want to give is for Trin Lavelle, because when I get high, I like operate at the pace of her brain, and it is so nice. Like, it's just such a little sync, and it's slow. Like, it's slower than usual, I feel like. And I feel like that is a good thing generally, or like can be a good thing generally. Like, it slows me down from like racing intrusive thoughts and stuff like that, which is nice. But so Trin Lavelle's content is like movie commentary basically, and I just love the way that she thinks. And I love and when I get high, I'm just like, that is so fucking interesting. Damn, like, I was not thinking about it like that, but I see what you're saying. And so it's not like super highbrow content, and I think that's part of what makes it so good, is that like she is talking about movies like in inaccessible language. She is talking about it in accessible language. There we go. Not in inaccessible language. Don't get it twisted. So anyway, shout out to them. Thank you for watching, and I will be with you next week. Oh my gosh, I was gonna crochet during this episode. I totally forgot. But I forgot that I have to hold the microphone. I can't crochet while I talk. Well, hopefully in the next episode, I will be able to show you what I've crocheted, because I'm crocheting a shrug to wear at Bonnaroo, the music festival, in June, which is less than a month away. So I really need to get crack-a-lackin' on it. And so I was like, let me two birds, one stone. Alas, until next time. Bye.